Hey everybody, Tom Barnes stories from the 78, the 78 being Wicker Park slash Bartlett, a little bit out in the burbs. That's where I'm talking to my friend Jeremy. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm having a great day. It's sun is shining, weather is crisp outside, so that fall is creeping in. Feeling good,
Right, and
man.
yeah, and the sun is shining. We won't talk about the Bears game yesterday because that's not a conversation to. We
Please,
don't want to
let's,
bring things
let's not
down,
do
but
that.
we'll talk about love more because people who have been in the city might have seen love more pop up, and maybe they're not quite sure what it is. But it's all about love, and you are
Yeah.
the founder of this movement, if you will. And I wanted to talk to you about it because you are amping things up a little bit, and you just let's love, man. And you got
That's it.
the credentials with your art studio that you have in Wicker Park. You mentioned earlier that you've done stuff for the Tupac Museum,
Yeah.
for I mean, Bob Marley, Tupac are two of the biggest iconic figures in not only music but history here. It's a pleasure to talk to you about your influence and all of that.
Oh man, no, it's a pleasure to be on your platform, man. I really appreciate you sharing this story with your community.
Absolutely. So tell folks about Lovemore.
Yeah, I'll give people a little bit of background. So, I started a company, Project Art Collective, which is the creative art studio based out of Wicker Park. We've been blessed to be able to design and work on the Tupac Shakur Museum, the Bob Marley Museum, work with Lady Gaga, Kendrick Lamar, etc. But what I really feel that my purpose was is to try to transform and do something positive in the world. And it really started back when the pandemic really kicked off.
Man, have I heard that a
Between
lot in the last few
yeah,
years. The pandemic, so much people say about, oh, how awful it was. And yes, absolutely. People died, the world changed. But there, I feel like every time there's something bad, something good comes out of something bad. And I've heard a lot of
100%.
stories of people just recognizing, stopping, and taking a look at the world and seeing where we were at.
Yeah, it made me sit down and reflect, but I think it also started making you notice because you were so much in the rat race at that time before that
Yep.
you didn't have time to reflect and just see how others were being treated. And I think that really put it all in perspective of how much divisiveness is happening in the world and how other people were it seems like the loss of humanity just was losing every day of people thinking one way, someone thinking the other, and there was no empathy, no compassion. And so that made me sit down and think through like what can I do to try to help or how to be a voice of positive reason. And I knew I didn't want to start a nonprofit because I'm not a nonprofit guy. I don't think I would do well at that. But I did know that there are a tremendous amount of nonprofits doing an amazing job that I could support. And
Sure.
my know-how and my superpower is marketing, advertising, design, and art. And so I wanted to use that transformative power of art to create a conversation and then help try to change perspectives with Love More. So it's really just a celebration of beauty and humanity and the great world where love triumphs. And I like to call it our anti-hate campaign is what we really launched.
Yeah, and it's wonderful. I mean, we were just talking about the pandemic, and we had a presidential election in the middle of that.
Yep.
There were the Capitol riots. There was just so much ugliness in
Ugliness.
the
Yep.
world at the time, and I think a lot of people kind of felt like, "Is this it? Like, are we has humanity fallen off of its rocker here?" But
Yeah.
I think people like yourself and others who you're like, we have to remind ourselves that human beings can be different but still get along and still love one another based on differences. Like that's why you should love one another, not you know hate.
Yeah. I think people forget empathy is what makes us human. And
Yeah,
uh, just having the perspective
mercy.
of understanding that however you feel is totally okay if you feel that way. But you also have to respect how I feel. And then what that should do is open up a conversation to try to come up to a middle ground to where it's like a level of respect that, oh, that's a cool person. And I want to get to know them even further. And that's where, I'm really trying to inform. So, like, when you see the signs, I want it to be a reminder to think through, like, you never know what anyone's carrying, you never know what anyone's thinking throughout the day. So be a light to that person and for yourself as well.
Yeah, I find it that when you're nice to people and you say hi, like, you think about when we were kids, I feel like people said hi a lot more than they do now. I think, the phone, putting your head down has really created this different
Yeah.
environment. What makes me sad for my kids, because I always try to remind them, when you talk to people, look at them in the eye. When you walk by somebody, say hi. It's okay.
Yep. Yep.
They're not gonna bite you, but I feel like that's kind of lost a little bit. And I think we need to remind people that just the act of saying hi to somebody walking down the street could be all that person needed to come back from a place that was dark for them.
Yep. Yeah, man. The power of a smile is more worth than the weight in gold, man. If you can, you never know when somebody just sees you smile, how that could brighten up and what the chain reaction that creates. You smiling to them, now they're gonna be able to say like, man, let me give someone else a smile and have a conversation. So you never know how that can radiate and spark that whole chain and reaction of positivity through a day. And I think this is where we need to lend. And when we're in solidarity around love and having the same kind of mindset, I think it can be stopped. And everything right now just feels like it's being pushed on us to go in the negative route and to be against each other. And from sports of, I don't like your team, you don't like my team, and becomes so divisive that I think now is the time to reflect and come back to say like, we need to get back together and just like really bond and move to unity and compassion.
Yeah, and find what's really important in life. Like sport allegiances are, great and they're passionate, but at the end of the day, what's important is your family, your friends,
Yep.
your community. That's important, and the community around that community. And that's what Love More showcases with the pins and the shirts and all the other
Yeah.
things. Talk about that when people go to learn more about it. Assuming the website's the best spot for all of that.
Yeah, so when you go to our website, lovemoretoday.com, the number two in front of day, when you go to the website, we do have various art collections on our website, and we use these to help fund everything that we're trying to do. So the goal is that we're trying to do one, raise money for various nonprofits, and then two, we're trying to raise funds so we could do more public art displays and more public things of bringing people together, and then create jobs and create opportunity as well. But we have pins, we have stickers, we have T-shirts and apparel. We also have artwork where we work with various artists, everyone from Lauren Asta to PB to Rare Bandy to Cesar Perez. So we've been creating a network of various artists to help come up with our love prints, to also just create love out in the world through art.
Love More is amazing. I'm happy to talk to you about what you've done. And you got the art studio here in the Wicker Park neighborhood in Chicago that foster. I feel like if there wasn't art, we'd be in big trouble as a society. It's proven year after year that art and expression matter, and
Yeah.
showcasing that love that you talk about through artistic expression is important. And lovemoretoday.com, that was the
Yep.
website.
That's it. Yeah. The number two.
Jeremy Hodges, thank you so much for joining me and talking to me about it. I appreciate you guys. Have any events coming up that you want to share with anybody?
We are currently working on some events for 2024. One's going to be a Love Fest, and one's going to be We Can Grow Together Art Festival, where we're going to do a collective art show with various artists around the city to just bring everyone together. And then the Love Fest is we're working with some pretty big name artists to try to bring unity. And the idea for that whole festival would be earn a ticket by volunteering. So no cost for the ticket, but you would get a free ticket just for volunteering at one of the volunteer stations that we will upload. So be on the lookout for that information, and we'll release more out in the world very shortly.
Thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. I appreciate it, Jeremy.
No, thank you. Thanks so much.